welcome. As people are jumping on, I've got us, I think, live streaming into the group. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, all right, my name is Ruby Kay, and welcome to our Talk and Think Better class tonight. If you are watching from our Octoilfest group, welcome. You're probably watching from the live stream in Octoilfest. If you're like, what in the world is Octoilfest? I'll get you in on that too. Some of you guys just know me, you know my story, or you maybe saw my story and you were curious about what my story is with, in particular, autoimmune. So you may have just been attracted over to the Zoom portion with wanting to know more about my story with autoimmune and how does Talk and Think Better help with health and autoimmune and all of the things. And so just to let you know, we are in the midst of a 5-day online event, and this is not, hang on one second, let me make sure this is live streaming properly into our group. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's good now. We are in the midst of a 5-day event called Octoilfest, and this is sharing all about essential oils and natural wellness products. And one of our days today, which is day 2, is themed Talk and Think Better, because it's all about falling into better health for this Octoilfest event. And for Talk and Think Better, I thought it would be fun to kind of partner the two parts of my life, people that don't know what Octoilfest is and people that are curious about my autoimmune background and story, and present to you guys both one at the same time. So welcome. So if you're joining via Zoom and you don't know what Octoilfest is, that's amazing. We're glad to have you here. If you're joining on Octoilfest and you're watching live, we are glad to have you here too. If you're watching the replay, put #replay in the comments, because I'd love to know that you're watching later on. There's a lot of people that couldn't make it live, and thank you so much for being on here. I see Haley, I see Lucinda, I see lots of people jumping in online. Hello, Amy. I'm going to be watching the comments. Oh, hang on one second. Be watching the comments so I can go through all the people and all the things. Also, if this is helpful for you, I would be happy to stay on after the call for a few minutes and answer some questions if you'd like to do a little Q&A. But if you want to do that, then you're going to need to jump into the Zoom portion. So, oh, one second. So if you want to jump on the Zoom portion, I will put, or maybe somebody can throw the Zoom link into the bottom in the comments. Okay, I was going to minimize my screen. Maybe I'll have to share it. That's going to be weird. I wasn't planning on sharing my screen. I was just going to read a couple things, but it's not letting me minimize, so I could just read it. So I might just share it anyway. All right, so day 2 for Octoilfest is all about talk and think better. And seriously, I have people all the time look at me like I have a third eye when they say, like I have 3 eyeballs, right? When I say, oh yeah, how did you overcome all your autoimmune issues? Or how did you get so much better with your health and your autoimmune story after 25 plus years of living with that? And I said, I changed my mind. And they're like, excuse me? And they're like, no, really, like, what, did you start a medication that made a big difference? Did you use an essential oil that made a big difference? Did you eat a special diet that made a big difference? And I was like, honest truth is I changed my mind. They're like, you can't just change your mind and feel better. And I was like, well, I did. So there's that. I don't know what to tell you other than that's my story. There was no magic pill. There was no magic diet. There was no magic medication. There was no magic essential oil. There was nothing like that. It literally started with transforming the way I thought and the way I spoke. And that is what I'm excited to share with you tonight. As we get started with this, I want to share with you first and foremost my heart behind why I'm passionate about telling you my story and sharing with you my story. And so I'm going to share my screen. It's going to be probably pretty funky for a minute because I was, like I said, I wasn't planning on sharing my screen, but, or maybe, you know what? I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. I want to read you something. Now, full disclaimer, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not here to cure, prescribe, whatever, anything that you're looking for. I'm seriously just here to share my story. And this is why I share my story. I am, again, full disclaimer, going to be using some scripture from the Bible. That is my foundation. If that is offensive to you, I apologize. I'm not here to offend anyone. I just want to share my story and my passion for why I do it. So I want to start out by reading my life verse, my passage that I literally, it fuels me in everything I do in showing up for you guys. So it's a little bit long, but I'm going to read it for you. And I want you to listen really, really carefully to every word of this passage, because every single line and word are powerful. They are very powerful in the message. This is Isaiah 61. And this is why I'm showing up for you guys tonight. It says, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor." That's Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1-3. And that is my life verse, my life calling. I want to go back through a couple of key words in there with you really quick as we get started as to why I believe that this is a place and a time for you 100% to be, and why God sent you here listening to my voice right now. I'd like to know if you can relate to the word captive. I'd like to know if you can relate to feeling poor. I'd like to know if you can relate to someone who has been in grieving or mourning. I'd like to know if you perhaps would prefer a crown of beauty instead of sometimes feeling like you have ashes. Do you feel like your health and wellness journey? Do you feel like your health goals, your health issues, where you are in life have held you captive? Do you feel sometimes like you are a prisoner to your own health? If that is you, then my message today is absolutely for you. If that is someone that you say, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like my friend, my sister, my mother, my uncle," then share this video with them. Because I know what it feels like to feel imprisoned by health issues, autoimmune crap. I know what it feels to feel like you are literally taken captive and there's nothing you can do about it. Like your freedom has been taken away because of your health. If you can relate to that, I would love for you to put the word relate in the comments. If this is speaking your language at all, if you have felt in your health journey like you have been a prisoner, like you have been the poor one. Oh, poor so-and-so. Have you ever heard that? Has anyone ever said that to you? Poor you. I'm so sorry. Poor you. If you can relate to any of that, then I want you to really, really listen up tonight, because this message is a message of hope for you. This message, oops, I'm just going to mute real quick. This message is for me to give to you that may serve you and offer you a crown of beauty that you deserve, my friend, the crown of beauty that you deserve. If you have been in a state of disease, a state of grieving, a state of illness, a state of stress, a state of fight or flight, I hear you, I know you, I see you, I've been there, and it will wreak havoc on every cell in your body. But I'm here to offer you a story of hope that there really is something you can do about it. And I offer that to you because back in 2012, there was one person who said to me that I didn't have to live that way anymore. And I didn't know that. I did not know that that was a choice that I had to make, because for 25 years, I had gone to multiple doctors. I'd been in and out of the hospitals. I had been given a 5 to 10 year death sentence that I wasn't even going to live to see the year of 40 in my life. And every single person in my life said, poor you, poor you, poor you. This is chronic. It's going to take your life. You will not see your kids graduate from high school. These were the things that were being fed into me by every single person in my community, in my doctors, in my friend circle, all of them. You would think they'd be like, no, you got this. But my autoimmune list was real. It was real and it was legit and it hurt and it was painful and it kept me very sick. But there was one day my husband was working out in our garage gym, And he was reading, he was doing a workout routine from a magazine. And there was this little article in the corner of the magazine, this men's health magazine from this guy named Paul Chek. And Paul Chek wrote or made this DVD back then. This is DVD. This is back in 2012. And it was entitled The Cure Is You. And my husband read this article that kind of gave a synopsis of what this DVD was about. And it was basically saying you have the choice on how you're living. And he brought me this article and he's like, I think you need to read this. I think maybe there's something you could use, you know, from this DVD. And I was like, yeah, if this was a choice, I would have chosen a long time ago to not be in this place. Can you give me an amen to that? Like, seriously, if this was a choice, I would not be choosing how I feel. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You can't, I didn't know how to choose all my autoimmune diseases. So some of the things I'd been diagnosed with was systemic lupus, mixed connective tissue disease, Scleroderma, Sjogren, Raynaud's, endometriosis, sweet syndrome, dengue fever, which is a type of malaria I got in Africa when I was 21. And my disease list was very long and very real. And I didn't know the names of those diseases to say like, oh, I'm choosing, let's get out the big medical book and put my finger through there and say, this disease sounds like fun. So I was like, okay, this Paul Chek guy, he is nuts to think that I'm choosing that this is what I want for my life. How am I ever choosing something like this? And so I was curious though, because he was the only person in my life, the only one. Now I came from a Christian faith, a Baptist faith, who taught that Jesus healed, that they did miracles, the lame to walk, the blind to see. But when it came to my health, nobody ever told me that I could be actually healed. They didn't believe that for me, and I didn't believe it for myself. So I ordered this DVD and I watched it, and I was pissed. I was mad because this DVD basically was saying you're choosing what you are. Every place in your life right now has been a choice. It's been a culmination of choices you've made throughout your life. And I was like, oh my gosh, why would I ever choose? I have these two beautiful children at the time that were like kindergarten and first grade. I'm like, I would never choose to be in this much pain. I would never choose to be this bedridden. I would never choose to be in and out of the hospital. I would never choose these things. So I decided, because this is my feisty little 4'10" self, I decided to call up his company. I looked up an 800 number and I called up his company and I said, I'd like to speak to Paul Chek, please. And they answered the phone and they're like, well, he is unavailable, but I am his partner and CEO partner. This is a woman. And she said, how may I help you? And I said, yeah, I just watched your DVD and I think that you're full of it. And I'm really upset that you said that I would be choosing this. And she basically said, no, we stand by everything that's in that DVD. And I was like, well, that really makes me mad because if I was choosing this, I would never choose this. That's ridiculous. And she basically argued back with me saying, yes, these are choices that you've made as to why this is a place in your life. And I was like, what? I mean, how is that even a possibility? What about genetics? What about things that environment that I'm not choosing, you know, around me? And she said, yes, can those things come into play in whatever, but your response to those things is your choice. And your body is going to respond to your response. And I was like, well, I think this is ridiculous. So I continued to give her my peace of mind and I hung up the phone. And that night though, I sat there and I thought, gosh, what if she's right? What if I could do something different? What if I could choose something a little different? And maybe I wouldn't be 100% healed, but maybe I'd feel better. Nobody else gave me that hope. Everybody else just said, we'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. They never gave me the encouragement that they said, oh, you know, that systemic lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and dermatomyositis and polymyositis. Oh, that'll go away for you. Just, you know, that'll go away for you. That's temporary. Don't listen to what the doctors say. You can get out. You can get out of that. And I was like, this is the only person that said there was maybe an option. What if there was an option? What if there was something I could do? So I slept on that and I really continued to ruminate over that message and just thought, what's the harm if I believe at least a little bit that maybe there's something I could do? I loved that it actually gave me a small sense of control over my health again too. because my health felt so out of control. It felt like it was so out of like anything I could ever do that it was scary. It was very, very scary. And this gave me a little bit of a sense of like, maybe there's something I could still do. Now, for 20 years, I had always gone the natural route because I had some very severe anaphylactic reactions to medications when I was very young. So I had sworn off meds years and years and years ago. So I have done everything natural you could possibly think of. The Max Gerson therapy, coffee enemas, juicing, vegan, not vegan, you name it, the master's diet, the master's cleanse. I have done all the things and none of them worked. None of them worked. Maybe I felt somewhat better. I know I wasn't having like severe side effects that maybe I could have had from medications, but I wasn't healed. And so this was like, okay, maybe there's still something I could do. So what I did in February of 2012 is I cried out to God and I said, God, I'm all yours. If there's anything you can do, anything, you've got to show me. If there's not, could you just take me home? Like, let me just peacefully pass in my sleep. I am not a good mom to my kids. I sleep through picking them up from school because I'm in so much pain. I can't even walk around the corner to pick up my kindergartner. Just let me go, and my husband can remarry a mom who can take better care of my kids. So those were my two choices. I made a bargain with God that night. I said, give me one of those two. And Lord, if you decide to take the healing route with me, I promise you, I will tell everyone you put in my path what you've done for me. So I know you're not supposed to like make deals with God, but I did. That was just kind of like, help me. I don't know what else to do. And so the next morning I woke up and I was not healed. Wah, wah. Bummer, right? I was not healed. I still had all my autoimmune diseases. I still felt terrible. In fact, here's what came into my mind was that everything hurt. Everything hurt. I had ulcers the size of nickels lining my throat. I had laryngitis for 3 weeks because my throat was so raw. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't talk. And this is before like texting and stuff. So I had to handwrite notes to my family of like what I needed them to do or be or go. And my arthritis was so inflamed that my hips would lock and I couldn't get out of bed to go to the bathroom. And when I did finally get out of bed, the bottoms of my feet had so many like calcium nodules on the bottoms. It felt like I was walking barefoot on spikes or pebbles. And it was so painful to try to get to the bathroom that I was like, oh my gosh, everything hurts. Just everything hurts. So I lied in bed that next morning after I prayed this big prayer to God. And I felt like he had said to me that night before that he was going to heal me. And yet I woke up the next morning and I was still just as bad as I was the day before. And I was heartbroken. And I laid in bed and I just thought, everything still hurts. Everything hurts. And at that moment, God told me, take captive your thoughts. Take captive your thoughts. It's like, what does that mean? I've heard this verse that says, demolish all arguments and take captive your thoughts and put them into obedience in Christ. And I was like, I don't understand what that means, but I know I need to think differently. If I can choose something right now, I can choose to think differently. So instead of thinking everything hurts, it's going to hurt so bad to go to the bathroom, it's going to hurt so bad, I decided to take captive that thought. And I thought, I took apart the words, and the word everything, I realized, I said, everything is a really big, bold word. The word everything is kind of not true. That's actually a lie. So that if it's not true and it's a lie, then that's actually not in obedience with what God is telling me in his Bible. So what can I change about that thought? So I put it into what I call thought jail. So I put that word everything into thought jail. And I thought, okay, if everything is not really true, what can I come up with that doesn't hurt on my body? So I did this little body scan, like head to toe, what doesn't hurt? What doesn't hurt? What doesn't hurt? And I was like, everything hurts. No, not everything hurts. And I realized my nose didn't hurt. And I was like, my nose doesn't hurt. And I have a nose. Not everybody in the world has a nose. That's true. I've seen pictures. Have you seen pictures of people without a nose? It's really sad. And I had a nose, and I don't have like the craziest big nose or small nose, or it's fine. It's a good little nose. I'm happy with my nose. I've never had any complaints about my nose. I was like, okay, I have a nose and my nose doesn't hurt. Thank you. That's a good thing. And my immediate body shifted from this doom and gloom state, thoughts of everything hurts, blah, 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 to like, look at me, my little cute nose. Okay, do you see the difference? And then I realized I could breathe out of my nose. And not everybody can breathe out of their nose. That is the truth too. Some people are so stuffed up in their sinuses, they can't breathe out of their nose. And that day I could breathe out of my nose. So I was like, okay, I'm breathing. I have a nose. I can even smell. And a lot of us know what it's like to not be able to smell for a period of time, you know, from some magical viruses that cause you not to smell for a while. And I could smell, I could breathe, I had a nose, I could smell. And my focus all of a sudden went completely on this little piece on my face that did not hurt. And not only did it did not hurt, but I actually was in this whole state of gratitude over my nose. And I went from waking up feeling poor me, captive me, prisoner me, no freedom for me. And all of a sudden my thoughts shifted and I was in this elation, in this state of gratitude with a smile on my face, thinking, I have a nose, I can breathe. And I was like, okay, I like this state. I like this way I'm feeling much better than I liked the way that I was feeling before. And it all had to do with where I was focusing and what I was thinking about. So then I decided to say out loud, okay, then I'm going to focus on my nose. All day today, I'm going to focus on my nose. When I stand up out of this bed and I walk on that floor and it's going to hurt like crazy, I'm not going to focus on that pain. I'm going to focus on my nose and stay as much as I can in this state of love and joy and gratitude over this little piece of my body. And that's what I did. And the reality was my hips still hurt, my joints still hurt, my mouth and my throat still hurt. Every time I would start to get there in my brain, I'd go take captive your thoughts and focus on your nose, focus on your nose, focus on your nose. And it wasn't about just shifting and being a positive Pollyanna, right? It wasn't just about like, oh, be positive and all will feel well. No, my friends. The secret sauce to it is to actually embrace the gratitude and the joy of being in that moment. So what I realized the next day is I woke up again and I still hurt, just the same as the day before. Everything hurt. But I told myself, okay, focus on your nose, focus on your nose. And then I realized, you know what? My ears don't hurt either. They don't hurt. They don't have like arthritis in my ears. They feel pretty good. And I'm a pianist. So as a pianist, I can hear out of my ears, and not everybody has ears, and not everybody can hear out of their ears. I'm so grateful for my ears. And I even get to wear fun jewelry on my ears. I get to decorate my ears. And now I even have fun jewelry on my nose as a statement piece for knowing how to focus on my nose. That's why I got my nose pierced. And so all of a sudden, I shifted my thoughts again into a state of gratitude and joy over my nose and over my ears. The next day, I added my hair. Not everybody has hair. My hair doesn't hurt. I could do all kinds of crazy things to my hair. In fact, I do like doing all kinds of braids and curls and all kinds of fun things. My hair doesn't hurt. I'm so grateful for my hair. And so I took my thoughts and I shifted it over and over and over and over and over and over and over until within a year's time, I kid you not, I was 99.9% symptom-free of all of my ailments. Everything was gone. The only thing that I was still struggling with a little bit was when I would hold a cold beverage, my Raynaud, the purple fingers, they would come if I had a cold beverage or if it was like cold outside. I would feel that a little bit, but it wasn't super painful or anything. Everything else was awesome. I'm not even kidding you. Shifting my thoughts and speaking the life, it was almost as if the dis-ease could not survive in the ease. It couldn't survive in the ease. And I got myself so consumed in that state of ease and joy and love and gratitude that the dis-ease couldn't hold up to it. That's the power of love. That's the power of healing through faith. That is the power of focusing and shifting your thoughts onto what you choose. There's that choice, what you choose to focus on. And as you may have heard an old saying, you know, what you focus on grows. And I'm here to be a walking testimony of that. What you focus on grows. So you might be thinking, well, Ruby K, that's so great for you. I'm so proud of you, but you don't know my story. And friend, I don't know your story, or I might know a piece of your story. I'll probably never know all of your story, as you will never know all of mine. And I'm not here to say that I'm forever healed from that moment on, because 5 years later, after feeling my best self, I had a severe trauma happen in my life, and it set me back. And it's taken me another 5 years to start to get my feet back under me again and focus on my nose and focus on my nose and focus on my nose. Am I 100% healed, symptom free right now? No, I'm not. But what I do know is I have so much energy. I have so much love. I have so much positivity. I have so much compassion because I focus there and I choose for my thoughts to be there instead of in a spirit of despair, in a spirit of constant mourning and grieving. Have I grieved? Oh, friend, the grieving in my life is real too. I lost someone very important to me, and I know what that feels like. I'm okay to grieve sometimes, but I don't stay there. I give joy in my grieving. I give joy in my mourning. So I, every single day, shift my thoughts. I shift my thoughts over into a state that feels good. It feels good to me to stay there. And so I choose to stay there. So back when Paul Chek in his video said, the cure is you, he was absolutely right. And when his partner said, it's your choice, she was absolutely right. Because I choose to live in that state. I choose to live in a place that is not poor me or poor, you know, you or whatever. And like I read to you a little while ago, I'm going to go back to that passage. Isaiah 61 verse 3, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. If you are feeling like your life has poverty in it, if you're feeling like your health has poverty in it, this message is for you. And I'm here to bring that to you. It says, he has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Friend, have you been brokenhearted? I've been there too. I get it. I know it. I see you. I hear you. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners. Have you been in a dark spot? Do you know what it's like to be in a dark spot? I know what it's like to be in a dark spot. I've been in dark spots too. But it's about moving out of the dark spot. It's recognizing it is the valley and using everything in your power to continue to rise up and get out of the valley. Because if you can hear my voice, and if you can even just listen that I'm giving you that seed of hope right now, even if you don't believe in yourself enough to get yourself out, let me be that friend who's going to pull you out of the valley and tell you it can be done. This is a season. This is temporary for you. And it is your time to start getting up out of the valley, getting out of the darkness, because the Lord has called me to give you that message today. It says to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Are you ready to walk in favor? Are you ready to be in that spot? It says to comfort all who mourn. When I first was given this passage, I had never experienced deep mourning. When he gave me this passage as a life verse, when God told me that this was my life verse, I didn't know what that meant to be, you know, to comfort someone who mourned. I'd lost my grandparents, but, you know, they were older. They lived an amazing, beautiful life. And it wasn't the same. But when I experienced what I experienced with my brother, it was a whole new level. It was a whole new level. And I now know I can comfort people who are mourning because I know what it feels to be devastated and in a state of grief that is overwhelming, where you cannot get off the bathroom floor for days. I know what that's like. And I can comfort you and I can give you hope and I can offer you the seed that says there is joy. There is joy and there is beauty. And the next part says to bestow a crown of beauty instead of ashes. And today I want to offer you the crown of beauty. And you know what the crown of beauty is? Think about this, you guys. Where do you put the crown? You put it on your head. Where are your thoughts coming from? The crown of beauty is a crown of beautiful thoughts. It's a new way of thinking that offers joy and hope and love. This is the crown of beauty. The crown of beauty is what's happening inside of your mind. It's taking captive those thoughts and switching them over from the spirit of despair into the crown of beauty. And it says to offer them the oil of joy instead of mourning. Funny enough, one of my favorite oils is right here, the oil of joy. The oil of joy. And a garment of praise instead of the spirit of despair. So that you, friends, may be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord to display his splendor. So can thinking and talking change your health? What do you think? I would love to know in the comments. Can thinking and talking change your health? Can it help you feel better? I know you've dealt with so much. Is it possible at this point in your life to make one small shift to focus on your nose? And that might be where we're, you know what, let's just start right there, right now. Who in here, I would love to know, who's watching this video, if you're watching the replay, whatever, I would love to know, raise your hand, say me, if you have a nose. Do you have a nose? Put me in the comments, raise your hand. If you have a nose, I want to know if you have a nose. Okay, can you currently breathe in and out of your nose? And there might be some. My son, he does not breathe well. He has 10% capacity breathing out of his nose. He can breathe a little bit. Can you breathe out of your nose? Put breathe in the comments if you can breathe. Take a deep breath, my friends. Take a deep breath with your mouth closed and your nose open, and breathe through that nose, and just realize the power of what you just did. Inhaling breath through your nose, because you have a nose, you can breathe through your nose. Can you currently smell out of your nose? If you can smell, put the word smell in the comments. If you can, know what different scents are. And if you're a fun oil user like me, grab an oil, breathe it in. Appreciate that you can smell out of your nose. Just take that in for a minute. It's like the stupidest, simplest little thing. But just take it in that you have a nose, you can breathe, you can smell. How does that make you feel right now, just to be thinking that you have a nose and you can breathe and you can smell? Write in the comments. How does it make you feel? And I'll ask you this question further. When we started this conversation, you might have been thinking about all your autoimmune issues like mine, all of your ailments, all of your pains, all of your discomforts, all of your sorrows, all of your woes, all of those things. And that's okay. It's okay to be thinking about those things. We're not going to pretend like they're not there. But let's shift back over for just a moment and recall our nose and smelling and breathing out of our nose. And how awesome that is. Like, how cool is that you can do that? Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. Does that change your state of being? In fact, for some of you that I can see on the Zoom right now, I actually am seeing smiles coming out because our state is changing. We're all of a sudden in a happier state of being. You know what happens when you're in a happier state of being? Everything around you starts to do the very same thing. And that dis-ease cannot survive there. It's conflicting. Those are those arguments that it talks about in 1 Corinthians. We demolish those arguments because you've got two voices happening. One that says, oh, everything hurts, everything hurts. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've dealt with. You don't know my pain. You don't know my story, right? And you've got this other one that's like, focus on your nose, focus on your nose, focus on your nose. You've got this argument. Well, that's great for you, Ruby K, but it's not going to work for me. That's an argument. You know what it says? We demolish the arguments and we focus on the truth. Which one is the truth? Will it not work for you? If it's not going to work for you, why? Only you can answer that question. If it's not going to work for you, why? Could you shift a little piece that helps it work for you just to feel a little better for a moment? I 100% believe, and I know you have the power to do that. You have the choice every second of every day of where you're shifting your focus, what you're thinking about, what you're speaking about, how you're saying it. You have that choice, and I 100% believe that. Sometimes it takes practice. In fact, it does take a lot of practice. It takes constant taking captive your thoughts, putting them into thought jail, and rehearsing that, right? Going, oh, stop, focus on your nose, focus on your nose, focus on your nose, focus on your nose, until you just get in that pattern, that new habit in which you don't have to tell yourself to focus on your nose anymore. So I want to give you a little secret sauce to how you can lock this in, because it's going to be great that you're listening to this right now, but you might be thinking like, tomorrow it's going to go back. I've tried these positive things before. It doesn't work. Again, that's your choice, my friend. It's your choice. But let me share with you a secret sauce. And this is part of our Octoil Fest event, after all. So the secret sauce to this is our memory is so quickly attached directly. In fact, it's the only direct path from our smell to our memory, is right straight to the amygdala with our emotions and our memory. And it's the only direct path. Every other one has to go through other channels. But when we smell something, it directly impacts our amygdala and gives us a sense of, I know that. I know that. Well, how do I know that? So if you think about like Thanksgiving dinner, the smell of Thanksgiving dinner, maybe it smells like grandma's house. All of a sudden you think about Thanksgiving dinner, you can smell it in your mind, and you're getting flashbacks of whatever that looked like for you. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know what Thanksgiving dinner at growing up looked like for you. Okay. But the connection between smell and memory is powerful. So what we want to do is we want to lock in this state of gratitude. We can lock in other states, like if you might remember, here's a bad state that was locked in my mind. We were searching for houses in 2008. There were tons of foreclosures back then. And I remember opening the door to a house and it smelled like cat pee so bad that we were like, whoa. And we shut the door. We were like, we don't even want to go in that house. It smelled so bad. That was a bad memory. So now if I smell cat pee, it's like, oh, I can picture that house in my mind instantly. So we can have ties to smells that are bad, and we can have ties to smells that are good. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit for a second. I want you to grab something that smells good to you. Hopefully you have like an essential oil. My favorite is to use oils because I know that it's a plant-based product. I don't prefer synthetic products like candles or plugins or those, because there's a lot of toxic chemicals. So if you have something, even if it's a food that is a natural food, so grab a banana, I don't know, grab something that is a nice, healthy product. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit for just a minute and we're going to focus on our nose, and we're going to smell one more time while we're thinking. And you might even say out loud, focus on your nose. I'm so grateful for my nose. I can smell from my nose. I'm so thankful I have a nose on my face. I can breathe out of my nose. I'm so thankful for my nose. So for just, we'll do like 60 seconds. I want you to just think those gratitude thoughts over your nose while you're smelling something that we're locking in that feeling for you. Because what's going to happen tomorrow when you get up out of bed and you're thinking, oh, that Ruby K, she doesn't know my story. She doesn't know what I'm talking about. She doesn't know how hard it is for me. Then you're going to grab whatever you're smelling and you're going to smell it, and your brain's going to go, oh, I know that smell, and I know the feeling I want with that smell. And it's a feeling of gratitude, of joy, of love. So let's take a second and just breathe in. If you have come to this video and you've been in a rough spot and you've been in a dark place, you felt like a prisoner, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, and I want to offer you a small choice to continually focus on your nose. and then your ears, and then your hair, maybe your pinky, I don't know, whatever it takes to continually grow the gratitude, grow that state, lock it in with an essential oil and the power of what scent does to the amygdala, and see what happens. It is my experience that the power of thought and speaking is truly the power of life and death. Whatever you're speaking, whatever you're thinking is going to be choosing the trajectory of your life. Are you saying all the time, I'm in pain, I have anxiety, I am depressed, I am poor, I am broke, I am sad, what are you speaking? I heard a great speaker last couple weekends ago, Aaron King, who said, remind yourself that is not you. It's just an experience you're having. Your autoimmune disease is not you. It's just an experience you're having. Your grief is not you, and it's an experience you're having. Your depression is not you. It's an experience you're having. Remember that. Find peace in that. Find some joy and relief in that. We're not going to pretend it's not there. We're not going to pretend it's not real. It is real. It is real. But what you focus on is your choice. So, I love you, my friends. I offer you the power of thought and speaking to change your health, whether it be little by little or big, drastic, whatever it might be. Take note of how powerful that is in your life. And I would love to know how this affects you next week, a month, a year, 10 years. Because one person said it to me who I was mad at back in 2012. Remember, I was mad. You don't tell me those things. You don't know my story. But I listened and I thought, what if? What if there was a little piece of truth in that? What harm could it do to me? Guess what? It didn't do harm. It did amazing things for my life. I love you all. I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to stop the recording of the live stream. And if you want to stay on for a minute and ask questions, you may do that. We'll just be here for a couple of minutes. But I thank you for being part of this call tonight. And I am so grateful to have been here with you all.